Welcome to Lesson 9, Formatting with Cascading Style Sheets, narrated by Jeanette Passanisi. Upon completing this tutorial, you will be able to add cascading style sheets to your websites by applying CSS formatting, control text formatting. You'll be able to set background colors and images, set link properties, apply margins throughout your site, add text alignment and format lists, use CSS style rules, and use link style sheets throughout your site. We should take a look at cascading style sheets. Before them, we had traditional inline formatting. And traditional inline formatting allowed you to affect text appearances, apply background colors, apply page margins, set up link properties, and align text. This was all done in the body section of an HTML document at the tag level or as an attribute inside of a tag. With cascading style sheets, all of this formatting that is done in traditional inline formatting can still be done, but then saved to an external file and then applied to multiple pages, instantly controlling the format for the entire site. This also saves time because if you make one change to a certain color or a certain font that you want to apply to the entire site, you can make the change then in CSS, the external style sheet, and it will apply to all the pages in the site instantaneously. Exploring CSS formatting. Up to this point, we have used traditional inline styles, which are entered within the formatting tags. Using this method requires that you to go in and format each element individually. Cascading style sheets allow you to format your web pages and your web files effectively and efficiently without adding HTML code to your document. You apply CSS styles by creating and using CSS style rules. CSS style rules are instructions that describe the formatting that you want to apply to each element of your website. Let's take a look at some HTML history by exploring CSS formatting. When HTML was introduced in 1991, it was not intended as a formatting language, but rather as a method of making documents available to users on a variety of operating systems quickly. Over the years, formatting elements were introduced to make HTML more appealing to a larger audience. With new tags and new elements being introduced yearly, the need to standardize HTML led to extendable hypermarkup language, and that was introduced and formalized in 2000 by the W3 Consortium. Today, well-formatted XHTML documents use CSS formatting pages throughout its content. CSS formatting enables designers to create pages that are accessible to a wider range of display devices. These are not limited to computer screens, personal digital assistants, smartphones, and tablets. Only the future will tell us what other devices will be displaying CSS and HTML. With CSS, you can accomplish controlled text formatting. You can set background properties. You can control page margins and spacing, or the space between each sentence. You can control element alignments and decorations, and you can also format multiple pages within the same site. Controlling text formatting. It is more effective to use style sheets because CSS can control formatting for an entire page or for multiple pages. Here's an example. When using embedded styles, the style tag is used in the head section of your HTML document. As you can see here from this example, it is nested in between the two head tags after the meta tags. Everything that's positioned in between will dictate the styles that will be used within the body section of your web page. With the style sheets, you can actually format specific tags. In this instance, we are formatting the body tag. Everything in between the curly bracket will then be set. So you can see we have now set the font to be Verdana, Arial, or Helvetica with a font size of 14, a color of blue, and a line height, which we would think of if we were using Microsoft Word, line spacing of 2 pixels. CSS rules are made up of a selector and a declaration that together describe the characteristics of XHTML elements. A selector specifies the element to which the style is applied. The declaration contains one or more properties and values that describe the style. A colon usually follows each declaration property, and then a semicolon follows each declaration property value and ends the statement. Kind of like the same that you would see the semicolon in JavaScript or C++ programming. The entire style declaration is enclosed in curly brackets. Setting background colors and images. Some advantages of using CSS is to place background colors in images. You can add backgrounds to all web pages. You can also control the placement of these images, and you can also apply tiling of background images to an entire page or to an entire site. Here's an example of how you would apply background images using style sheets to a page. Setting link properties. You can change link colors using A-link, V-link, and other attributes in standard HTML. With CSS formatting, you can take this a step further, and you can have your links show that when a link has not been visited, once it has been clicked. You can change the view of the link if your mouse hovers over it. You can also change the way the link looks once the user has clicked on it. Applying margins using CSS. White space is an empty area on a page that may not necessarily be white. Too much white space on a page gives the reader an unbalanced and sometimes an uncomfortable feeling. Too little white space on a page can make the page elements appear overcrowded. Learning how to apply this property effectively can make white space enhance a web page design. CSS allows formatting to page elements. Here's an example of margins. CSS formatting allows you to format page elements by applying the following styles. You can change the margins around the edges of a page and the white space around elements, such as a picture within a page. And this is a perfect example of how that can be applied. Applying text alignments and formatting lists. You can use CSS formatting to align text and other page elements. Setting alignments properties can override the default left alignment of specified elements and can give your page more interest and a more balanced look. Remember not to overdo it when applying text alignment properties. Best practices suggest that you use the default left alignment for most of your page content and apply the other types of alignments and moderations. Here are some examples of when you might want to use different alignments. When you're aligning column content that contains numeric data. When you're using main page headings, you may want to center them. Some navigation bars, you might want them to be centered on your page at the top in the banner section. Photo galleries, block content, and copyright information. And these would be some of the exceptions where alignment would be appropriate. Using CSS class rules. CSS class selector rules allow you to define a specific purpose style in a style sheet that can be triggered in a document code. Class selectors are preceded by a period, which are also known as flags. These flags identify the rules as a class to the browser. Class rules can be applied inline to any element using the attribute class equals open quote, then the class name, close quote. When the browser sees the class name in an opening tag, it uses formatting instructions specified in the style sheet for that class. When you specify a class, you do not need to type in the flag. Once you have defined the class in the style sheet, you can change the formatting instructions for the class in the style sheet and the instructions cascade down to any element using the style sheet. Here is an example of an in-style sheet that you would type. So here in the first one, we're going to be formatting a bullet. And as you can see, when it comes across this class selector in the tag, which would be class equals second underscore bull, or for bullet, it would then apply the image to that UL tag, and then instead of having just a round circle, you could actually have an image. Create an external style sheet. Once you've created styles inside an HTML document, you might want to apply these styles to more than one document. You can create this by applying external style sheets, but first you'll need to select all the formatting code between the style tags, then create a new document in PS-Pad and paste that code into that document. When you have saved that document, make sure that you save it with the .css extension so that browsers will recognize this as an external style sheet. Using linked style sheets. Now that you've created an external style sheet, you can link it to one or more pages in your website. Below is the tag and attributes that you will need to type in the head section of your HTML document. Notice that it starts off as link, then href tells the browser what directory or what subfolder in the site folder to look for, followed by the actual CSS file name. The rel attribute is a relational tag that tells the browser that the file it is pulling up is a style sheet, and the type is telling that the browser again that the information is text and is to be applied as a CSS style sheet. Now that we have reviewed this information, you are ready to go into your lab and go to page E4. Thank you for watching.